Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Today we are going over the Mermail deck profile that you guys have been asking for and have been waiting patiently for quite some time. I'm really excited to show you guys this Mermail deck profile, and basically it's built to not only be able to beat other decks that are lower level, but I also wanted to direct my focus towards Pepe because that is the best deck of the format as of right now. But let's get down to the deck profile. As you guys can see, we're going to be doing the deck profile a little differently. I want to know what you guys think about it. First, we're going to start off with 3 copies of Mermail Abyss Megalo. Mermail Abyss Megalo is really good. It helps fuels our OTKs, FTKs, and basically it even searches the sphere cards that we do need. For the Mermails is Mermail Abyss Tias. Level 7 really works well with Megalo when you're making Gaios play, but ultimately it helps us search our lower level Mermail cards that we do play inside of our decks. After that is 2 copies of Pike. You don't need multiple copies of Pike anymore. You really don't need Turge anymore as well. But Pike really searches, allows us to search our guns and also allows us to search Genex Undyne, which I will talk about a little later. After that, Gun plays with Tias and Megalo are just grand, especially if you open Megalo with Gun in any of the Megalos or Tiases, you can make an instant rank 7 play, and that would probably be Gaios to allow you to shut down your opponent's monster effects. And the last Mermail I play is that 1 copy of Lind. Sphere Lind has been really slow, but I still think that after playtesting, Sphere is probably the best card to search with Megalo's effect, and then Lind actually allows you to tutor cards to your side of the field so you can get your search ability on. But that's going to be it for the Mermails. Now I guess we can talk about the Atlanteans that I play. And the Atlanteans I play are 3 prints, pretty mandatory, nothing really much else to say. You activate and resolve Prince effect. More often than not, you're going to win the game on that turn if your opponent allows you to do whatever they allow you to do. 2 copies of Infantry. 3 copies of Infantry was very cloggy. Face-up destruction is always amazing, especially in a pendulum format where, at the very worst, you can hit scales. And then 2 copies of Marksman for the exact same reason of Infantry. And also it hits those face-down Twin Twisters, Breakthrough Skills, Forbidden Chalices. And in back row heavy decks, it just has a field day. The most important thing about Marksman is that it really helps for setting up Trishula plays. Last, to sum up, the Atlanteans will be 2 copies of Atlantean Dragoons. Dragoons is nothing less of amazing. The best Atlantean card in the deck besides Nephthys. And Nephthys, since this is the graveyard, and we get to abuse it pretty well with Norden. Now on to the off-theme support. Deep Sea Diva and Mulling Glacia. These cards are searchable by Atlantean Dragoons, and they really help the deck. While Diva allows you to tutor Nephthys to your side of the field, Mulling Glacia actually takes a different approach, being able to pick 2 cards from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. If you're playing against a pendulum deck, picking 2 cards from their hand to the graveyard is more often than not going to put the game in your favor, even against decks like Infernoid and Burning Abyss. After you put them to the graveyard, all you have to do is make a Trishula and then make those cards useless yet again. After that, it's Undying Controller. A lot of people say they want to drop it because Nephthys out, and I can feel that they're completely wrong, mainly because there isn't every single time you're not going to draw your 3 copies of Nephthys, you're not going to draw your Diva, you're not going to draw 1 for 1. Keep in mind, those are only 5 cards in OCG. There was Deep Sea Diva, I believe, is at 3, so they necessarily don't have any problems getting Nephthys to the side of the field. In the TCG, we kind of have a problem, and Genex Undyne is a really good card. It's searchable by Pike. That's what makes it so amazing, and if you do have Instant Fusion in your hand, you can start off some plays. Most importantly, Controller, I can't really think of any hypotheticals where Controller is dead. It's a level 3 Dark Tuner, just a really amazing card. That's going to sum up for basically main board support. Now to the hand traps. We're going to play 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, 2 copies of Maxi, and 2 copies of Fact Veiler. I decided to go 2, and 2. Just because there's so many hypotheticals where all of them are win-win-win situations. At first I was running just 3 copies of Maxi and 3 copies of Effect Veiler, and I mainly felt because you allow me to draw and then I Effect Veiler your outs. But Ghost Ogre or Snow Rabbit is really good in that aspect. I mean, worst case scenario, you can actually summon Ghost Ogre or Snow Rabbit or set it. It has an 1800 defense, and then you can keep on going from there. It is a level 3 tuner on top of that, so I just felt that all 3 are really good against the Pepe matchup and then other matchups in between. Ghost Ogre is an out to infinity if all else fails, just like Effect Veiler, so it was just really good to play him. This video is brought to you by the Cali Effects Binder Update, where you can buy the cheapest cards online from your favorite YouTuber. All you have to do is go to the description in this video, and the separate links, one will take you to my binder update, where you can get a visual of all the cheap cards the Cali Effect has in stock. Another link is my Google Docs account. Verify how many of said cards are in stock and even find cards that are not in the binder update. If you guys have any questions, suggestions, or concerns, you can always message me on Facebook through the third link. Purchase your cheapest cards online today. For spells, there's really not really much else to spells that they all help the strategy. 2 copies of Twin Twister. Keep in mind you can activate the effect of Twin Twister discarding gun and still get its effect. Same thing with Mash Change 2. Mash Change 2 is really nasty in this deck, especially when you're special summoning or when you're adding that searchable Gen X controller, and then you can morph it into a Danklaw because, you know, when you morph into a Danklaw under Waving Guys, more often than not, you're going to win the game. 3 copies of Instant Fusion. Even though I only play 2 Nordens, I want to see Instant Fusion as fast as possible. Also, Daigusto Emerald is a card if, you know, ever needed. And then that copy of 1-for-1 because I want to get to Neptibus as fast as possible. Keep in mind, I mean, if Neptibus wasn't so important to the deck, I probably wouldn't be running like, you know, 1-for-1 and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it. Going to sum up for the spells. Very aggressive. I want to handle back row as fast as possible. And Instant Fusion is the best card in the deck because Norden is a water monster and allows me to make water cards and just do a whole bunch of lot of wacky plays. Onto the traps. We keep it really simple. 2 copies of Breakthrough Skill and an Abyss Sphere. Sphere is searchable by Megalo, and literally, it's the hands down the best Abyss card ever. I was playing with all of the Abyss cards. The one that negates spells is very bad in this format because when your opponent activates in a Pendulum Scale, it negates the Pendulum Scale, but then it doesn't do anything. It just stays on the field. The effective one is good, but it only gives the monster a 400 attack, and it only stops monsters on the field. The one that negates traps is amazing because it negates spell speed 3. But I just felt that there wasn't enough counter traps, or people weren't playing enough counter traps for me to merit playing it. That's going to be pretty much it for the main deck. That's going to sum you at 40. Now we can get on to the sideboard, or the extra deck, I'm sorry. The extra deck is very straightforward. There's a couple of cards that I've been tinkering with and a couple of cards I would love to change, but that's not how it happened. But let's get into it. Gaios, Bahamut Shark, 101, Emerald, Dweller, Castell, Trite. That's all of my Xseed monsters. I probably went into every single Xseed card in there at least twice. With the at least twice being Daigusto Emerald. Everything else I probably went to a billion times. Oh, and Castell. I only went to Castell once. The only reason why I even play Castell is, I mean, I guess it's because it is the better card. But Honor Arc does take the place of Castell in here. I'd probably wind up dropping Castell for something else. Mainly because you can still detach Dragoons for Honor Arc's effect, and you gain so much advantage just by activating Honor Arc. If all else fails, you sit it on the board, and it's like a Gachi Gentetsu. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Emerald's amazing. Bahamut Shark's godly, especially when you're forced to go first. And then Gaios is godly, especially when you're forced to go first as well. For Synchros, Leo, Trishula, Tatsunoko. Tatsunoko is amazing, especially if you open Diva, and then you can make Tatsunoko, and then that furthers your play to Trish. And then Leo, because there was actually a time where I was playing on Twitch, and somebody made Leo against me, and I was like, wow, my only out genuinely is Ignister to this guy. So I thought that Leo was a really, really good card opening into this format. Pepe only has 1 out, and that's Ignister, so if I play Effect Village and stuff like that, so I just felt that it was really, really good. Next for my fusions is obviously 2 copies of Norden, 3 instant fusions, 2 Norden. Don't really need anything else. I've never activated 3 instant fusions in the game. I have 2, but you know, just in case I do play Emerald for like a whole bunch of other tricks. Next is Acid and then Danklaw. I've summoned Acid and Danklaw a lot, and when I mean a lot, anytime I get Mash Change 2, summoning Acid and Danklaw more often than not wins you the game when played right. That's gonna sum up the extra deck. Now we're going to get into the side deck. Now, the side deck is basically going to be predicated off the extra deck because, like I said, if I do take out the Castell, I'll probably have 1 more slot. Now, you know, say that would be for the extra asset that I'm running. Now, this actually is probably the most intricate side deck I've ever ran, mainly because it runs almost 1 of every card. So, 1 copy of Valor, 1 copy of Snow Ogre, 1 copy of Maxi, 1 copy of Infantry, and 1 copy of Marksman. That's basically, depending on the matchup, I tinker with my Atlantean cards and my hand traps. So like if I'm playing against a deck that doesn't use pendulums, I'm probably going to take out my Ghost Ogre and put in, or my Ghost Ogres put in the maxi, and then put in the infantry or marksmans, whatever, to address that, or even Veilers, and so on and so forth. So like I said, I'm already main decking at least two copies of every single card in here. So just tinkering with the third card actually comes down to what I'm playing against. The second copy of Mass Change 2, because aciding your opponent is really, really, really good. The third copy of Breakthrough Skill. Breakthrough Skill is an amazing card. Next, a lot of people tend to side on like Twin Twisters and stuff against me, so I can side in cards like 3 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. Card's godly against pendulums, especially since I can blow their, I don't care if I go second or first, because I can always blow up their pendulums with infantry. And then next is Imperial Iron Wall. Cosmo's been coming back, and a lot of other decks have been coming back. And then Decree and that Acid. I'd probably drop the Decree for something else. I've never really needed the Decrees. I haven't really cited into them, but I just figured it was just really against Rogue. The Acid is, like I said, if I were to drop it in Castell, I would have 2 free slots because I'd probably be dropping the Decree. I play enough back row hate, so you know, it is what it is. Thank you guys for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. Let's see if we can get this deck profile up to 200 likes, especially if you guys like this formatting. Tell me if you guys do like this formatting, how you feel about this formatting, you know, actually having the list of cards on the side. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.